Now I'm going to show you how you can use your backyard to earn a substantial living. Not only can you earn money, but you can also feed your family. It doesn't matter where you live. It can be in the suburbs, it can be on a farm. As long as you have a backyard, you can be earning good money out of it. I'm going to show you just how you can do that. Now there's a lot of videos out there, a ton of them, showing you how to grow plants from home, how to profit from these plants, how to market them, so on and so forth. But there's a lot they don't tell you either. And I'm hoping to cover all that in this video. Now, my name's James. I'm a 40-plus year veteran horticulturalist. I've worked in the nursery industry as a propagator. I've been a landscaper's consultant, and I've operated my own nursery. So I've learnt over many decades exactly what sells and what doesn't sell. I also know what is hard to grow, hard to maintain and costly, and what is easy to grow and fast selling. And I'm going to focus on that. If you are interested in making money from your own backyard, doesn't matter where you live, can be in the suburbs, can be on a farm, any minimal space is okay. You have a backyard, it's more than enough. So let's jump right in. You're going to need resources. Now, you don't have to spend a packet getting set up. Remember, you're only working from your own backyard. You might be a mum or dad trying to earn a little bit of extra money on the weekends to supplement your income. You might be a retiree looking for something to do. You're going to need potting mix. You're going to need pots and trays to put those pots in. And you're going to need a source of seeds, as well as heat pads to raise those seeds. Seeds are like an egg. Without warmth, they will not germinate. A lot of people make this mistake and plant tomato seeds, cucumber seeds out in the garden. It's spring, weather's warm, but the ground's still cold. Those seeds will sit there. They'll be lucky not to rot before they germinate. Getting started shouldn't be expensive. You can source pots, trays from weekend markets. Nearly every market has some dealer selling second-hand pots and trays. You can get these quite cheap. You can buy them new, but we're going to follow a budget-conscious setup here today. So source them from markets, go around and pick up your bits and pieces there. Potting mix. It's no good buying potting mix from nurseries and paying $10, $20 a bag. You need good quality nursery-grade potting mix. And to do this, you need to source a supplier. Now, I'm going to put a link down below of a person who for many decades has supplied me with potting mix. He's either delivered it to our nurseries, but now as a retiree, I only work from my backyard and grow a few plants here and there. And I just hook up my trailer and go out to his property, and he's happy to load up a square metre to get me going. Another important thing you're going to need is heat pads. I mean, they don't cost a lot. They're about $20 to $30 each, but the more you have, the more seeds you can germinate. Now, in my case, I set these up in my garage. I've got a skylight in the garage. I just used a table, set these all up, hooked them up to some power, and put my seed raising trays with my selection of seeds on top of these. With heat pads, I can guarantee you're going to germinate seeds within days, a week at the most. They're super fast. Once they've germinated, you need to harden them off. In my case, my son's helped me build a small greenhouse in the backyard. It's just some plastic and some steel. You place your seedlings in these, let them give them a week or two, and then you need to put them outside once the weather's more clement. You need to harden them off so that they're in good condition to be marketed. Don't know if you notice when you go to nurseries and you buy plants, they've been undercover for who knows how long. They're always limp and in a wilty kind of state by the time you put them in the garden. This is because they've lost their calcification. It's like a person. If you stay indoors for too long and then suddenly go outdoors, you're subject to all kinds of problems. Your immune system has been compromised. You can catch a cold easily or a runny nose. Plants are no different. You keep them indoors for too long, they're no longer used to the outdoors. Or it takes them a while to acclimatise. Worst case scenario, they just kick up their heels and cark it. You can avoid this by hardening off your plants before you sell them to customers. Not a big deal. It's just a matter of letting them get used to the outdoors. Okay. So you've got your resources together. Oh, by the way, I'm going to place a link down below of a great place where you can source your seeds from. It's no good buying those little packets they sell in nurseries and so on. They cost an arm and a leg, and you never get enough seeds to get you going anyway. You need to buy bulk seeds for a decent price. Okay, so you've got your resources. Now you're ready to kick off. You need seed raising mix. Now, if you've bought potting mix, sieve some of that potting mix through a relatively fine sieve. I use a seedling tray. That's just enough to isolate the bark and the large chunky pieces from the fine vermiculite, peat moss and sand that's in potting mix. This is what you need for your seed raising mix. Once you've filled up your seed raising trays with seed raising mix, you can plant your seeds. Later on I'll tell you exactly what seeds to plant and how to plant them. If you use my system, you can't go wrong. Now place these on the heat pads. You can do it in your garage. It doesn't matter. Some light would be of benefit, but you're only germinating the seeds at this point. So we can worry about light later. Just keep them warm, and that's enough. Once they've germinated, take them as they are in the seed trays and place them in the warm, sheltered spot. I highly recommend you put yourself together a small greenhouse. Sites online that'll show you how to build a backyard greenhouse, or you can buy a kit greenhouse if you can afford it. I just got some cheap piping in my case, a galvanised iron that fits together, and my sons, as I said earlier, erected a greenhouse for me. Make sure to shade the sides though. On its own, that will get very hot and compromise your plants. So it's important to get shade cloth and wrap it around the sides of any structure you build. You can just buy 50% green or white shade cloth, and you put this around first and then the film over that. So first the shade cloth and then the film. I'm going to list the kinds of plants you should be growing and how you should grow them and when to plant them. As I said earlier, we are starting around midwinter. You need to germinate these plants by the end of August or the beginning of September. Have these ready to be potted up. So first of all, you would be planting tomato seeds. I'm going to make a list for you. Highly recommended tomatoes, ones that I know sell. Now there's over 5,000 varieties of tomatoes out there. Which one do you grow? Well, the answer is simple. Not everybody wants to try something new. Most people usually stick to what they know year after year. That's how I found the pattern with my customers. They come in, they've all got their own personal variety of tomato that they swear by and think is the best in the world and so on, and I cater to their needs. And that list is quite small. First of all, one of the most popular tomatoes on my list would be growyourownfood. The reason most people prefer that is disease-resistant tomato. It doesn't seem to suffer from powdery mildew or botrytis and other kinds of fungal diseases, and grows quite well and produces a medium-sized tomato that is very popular. Second, I would recommend Apollo tomatoes. Apollo are great because they're one of the earliest fruiting tomatoes in temperate climates. They fruit long before any other variety does. If you can get hold of Apollo seeds, go for it. And of course, I can't forget cherry tomatoes. Everybody loves cherry tomatoes. They're prolific, they grow crazy like a weed, and give you plenty and plenty of tomatoes. Fourth, a Rouge de Mormonde, or otherwise known as an Adelaide tomato. That's a big, chunky, ugly-looking thing, but it's one of the best tomatoes for a salad. No good for slicing and sandwiches and so on. People prefer it in a salad because it's very big, it's very juicy, and has a lot of flavour and taste. Then you've got the sourcing tomatoes. Big market for that too. Your Roma and San Marzano. I personally recommend the San Marzano seeds. These grow a small ovular type tomato that is very popular for people who are into sourcing and preserving tomatoes for winter and so on. And if you like something novelty, one of my favourite all-time tomatoes is the Mortgage Lifter. They can grow up to a kilo each, very large tomato, and popular with novelty gardeners. They give them bragging rights. I grew the biggest tomato, the heaviest tomato. So it's always good to have that. They're my 6 favourite, but if you do go through the list I provided down below, from Royston Petrie seeds in Mudgee, you'll see they've got hundreds of different varieties. You can try whatever your heart desires. Now, as I said, the first thing you need to plant is tomatoes seeds. Germinate them first before you plant anything else. The best-selling plant of all time, as far as fruit, vegetables and everything goes, in my experience, year after year, I could not keep up to the supply of cucumbers. I was ravaged when it came to cucumber seedlings. Most of my income during spring and summer actually came from selling cucumber seedlings. One in particular, if you can source this, you're sitting on a gold mine. You won't find this on Royston Petrie's seed list. This seed is usually supplied only to the agricultural industry. That is, farmers grow this cucumber. It's called the continental cucumber. You've probably seen it in supermarkets. It's that very long one they sell on their own that's wrapped in plastic. That's a continental cucumber. It has a very smooth skin, no pimples, and it's seedless. Now those seeds cost upwards of $1 each. But if you can source them, I will provide a link because I did grow these. I had a big demand for these seeds. They germinate super fast. And one of the main reasons this cucumber is so popular is that it grows upwards of 4 or 5 metres like a vine. Dozens of cucumbers off this plant. Well worth the $1 spent on a seed. And customers who know this variety know that too. The second all-time best-selling cucumber is the burpless cucumber. Very similar to the continental. However, this one has a few pimples on it and can be grown outdoors. Now, with the continental cucumber, one thing I forgot to mention is that it's known as a greenhouse cucumber. It is usually grown under cover. But I have grown these outdoors, and I have advised customers they can too, providing they can find a sheltered spot in their garden away from harsh winds and harsh light, and they will grow. Third best-selling cucumber is the Lebanese cucumber. It grows along the ground, very popular. I highly recommend you grow these 3 cucumber varieties. They will easily turn over big money for you. You can't lose. Cucumbers germinate a lot faster and grow a lot faster than tomato seeds. If you plant them first or together with tomatoes, they'll outgun everything else. Grow tomatoes first, get them established, and then follow along with the cucumbers. They'll catch up. Herbs are always a great thing to have. Parsley, dill, basil, oregano, thyme, and any herbs sell well. I would say basil is probably the number 1 best-selling herb in my experience, followed by parsley. And if you like this video and you would like to know more, I know I'm a bit green at the video side of things, but I have been a horticulturalist for many, many decades. I'm just not a videographer. Can't keep up with these young'uns with knowledge onto you guys. Hopefully it'll help you out, get you started, earn a little bit of extra income. It does work, I guarantee you. You can see me, my name's on the line here if I'm wrong. But if you have any questions and like a little bit more help along the way with this, I'm happy to answer your questions. Just give me a hoy. If you come this far, thank you very much for listening. Hope I've set off a light bulb. Bye for now.